Match your nodes to your roads, rotating and aligning nodes, symbols and trimeshes. Hello, I'm Tony Ingold from Extra Dimension Solutions. Well, we've got a layout of pits and pipes here which is looking pretty good. That is, it's good from a drainage point of view, but from a presentation point of view it's pretty ordinary. In the 3D view it's not looking too clever, and if we come across to my design view here you can see the same things happening. The pits are aligned north-south and we really need them to be aligned with the road strings. Now it's pretty straightforward to align the pits with the road. 12D will do this pretty much instantly for you as soon as it knows which road strings to use. In our particular case, the important strings are these lip of curb strings. At an F2, a string inquire on the lip here, and it tells me that its name is KL. That is the curb lip, and it's in a model called Road 3 strings. We also have a road centerline here. Our centerline model is designed CL, and this is Road 3. What we're going to do is we're going to use that road design file to tell 12D that these particular strings are important to the drainage network. The road design file lives on the hard drive, but we get to it through the water network editor. So I'm going to open the network editor through the toolbar, choose one of the pits or one of the pipes, it doesn't matter which because they're all on the same network, and come to the Global tab and then to the Utility Models tab. And this is where we specify the road design file, the file that tells 12D that these particular strings are important to the drainage network. Now I have one prepared already. I'm going to choose it and I'm going to open it up and just tell you how it works. Firstly, we have our road centerline. It's in a model called Design CL and its name is Road 3. That is, the design centerline for this road is Road 3. So I put here the center string ID, I put in Road Star so that the line will work for Road 4 and Road 2 and Road 1. I've told it it's allowed to search 8 meters from the center of the node to find the road centerline, and that 8 meters is a reasonable limiting distance. I don't want this head wall here, which is about 80 meters away from the centerline, to think that its orientation has anything to do with the Road 3 centerline. On the next line I've got my Road 3 strings, and my Road 3 strings are identified. So the Road 3 strings model is the model that contains these strings. That's the setout string. And if you recall from the string inquire a moment ago, these yellow strings here are the KL, the curb lip string. These are the strings that I'm going to align my nodes with. We're giving them a search distance of 1 meter. That is, the curb lip has to be within 1 meter of the center of the node. And I'll make sure that I write that file. These other fields here in the file, these are used for hydraulic analysis, and I won't be using those. So I finished the file, and that file is the one that I created earlier. But if you don't have one, it's pretty straightforward to create one. You can create it simply by typing your new file name into the box and then click on the yellow folder here, press the open button, and it opens up a brand new blank file for you that you can fill out. Once you fill it out, don't forget to write it. If you need more lines at the end, come to the end of the first line, press the enter button to give you another line. And once again, don't forget to write the file once you've completed it. It writes the file to your hard drive, and it's the file on the hard drive that's used by 12D. Okay, so my new file's got nothing in it. So I do want to choose the existing file, the one we just looked at, SW Road, and the work is done when you press the button that says Set Node Details. 12D will go and find those road strings, it'll calculate the bearing of the string next to the node, and it will rotate the node so that it aligns with that string. Am I sure? Yes, I am. And 12D has gone and done that. It's found the relevant curb lip strings and it's rotated the pit to match that string. And these curb lip strings are referred to as the setout strings. And the reason that the nodes have been rotated immediately is that here under defaults for nodes, the setout symbol mode is set to be setout string. We can go and find the bearing for any of these nodes by going to the Node tab, going to Setout, and taking a look here at the bearing of the symbol. We don't need to have a symbol mode set here because it's already set as default in the defaults. And that's rotated the symbol to match the bearing of the yellow line opposite the center of the pit. If we take a look in 3D, what used to look fairly ordinary now also has the pits rotated to line up nicely with the road strings. There is a bit of an issue happening here, and if we spin around and take a look, you'd be surprised to see that you'd be a bit surprised to be building the curb lintel out onto the footpath like that. What's happened is that the insertion point for the trimesh, that is the grate and lintel, is set to be at the edge of the grate. And at the moment, the set-out point is set to be the center of the node. Now we've identified the setout strings and we've used them to rotate the nodes, but the setout point for the node is still the center of the node. So it's doing exactly what it's been told to do. It's placing that tri-mesh at the setout point, which is the center of the node. We need to tell it to insert the tri-mesh not at the center, but onto the setout string, which is the yellow KL string. To do that, we'll go to defaults, we'll go to the nodes, and we'll go to setout. And we'll say that the setout XY mode is not to be the center of the node, but is in fact to be the setout string. Okay, we'll push the set node details button again, and 12D will calculate the distance that it has to move the tri-mesh, and then we'll move those tri-meshes so that their insertion point is on the setout string. Now that's pretty straightforward and pretty effective. Once we know that those yellow KL strings are important to the stormwater drainage system, we can use those strings for a number of other things. We can provide setout information to the KL strings, as we've done. We can adjust the elevation of the top of the pit so that it's relative to the setout string and not relative to the finished surface. So we can use the yellow setout string to measure the grade and use that grade to pick the inlet rating curve, which determines how much water is captured by the node. Similarly, if we know the road center line, we can figure out that the road carriageway lies between the center line and the setout string, and we can figure out the grade of the road and use that to determine the correct rating curve as well. So these setout strings have multiple uses, and what I want to show you is how we can use the setout string to adjust the node location slightly to correct an issue that's happening here on the project, where the larger pit here is set too far forward, too far into the road. We want the chamber to be set back so that its edge is on the setout string, the lip of curb, in a similar manner to these smaller nodes. Now at the moment, the chamber's center is on the invert of the curb, and for most nodes that works well. But this chamber is larger than most, and because it's larger, it's a junction pit, the front wall of the chamber is pushing into the road. Now, we don't want this, we want to move the chamber back slightly. To do this, we'll use a tool that's found under water string, and it's under plan edits. We're going to use adjust pit locations. Now, this tool is gold. It's particularly useful in a situation like this where the pit sizes change and we want to move them slightly. We've got a number of different nodes that have slightly different locations, and what we're going to do is we're going to move these nodes to slightly different offsets from their road design strings. Remember the road design string, the lip of curb? Depending on the node type, we're going to push it back or forward with some relationship to the lip of curb. We're going to use the node type from my list, my road pits, and they're going to have a 50 mm offset. That is, they're going to be located 500 mm away from the lip of curb. The gutter in this case is 450 mm, so this will put the center of the node 50 mm behind where they are now, 50 mm behind the invert of the gutter. We'll add another line to this file, and this particular node here that I want to work with is a sag road pit large, and we're going to give it an offset of 650. That is 650 mm from the lip of curb. The curb's 450 wide, so this will move it 200 mm, move it to the right of the yellow setout string. Okay, now here we choose the drainage model to work with, and I'm going to choose the model that's got my stormwater drainage network in it, and I'm going to process that and refresh the screen. Now we're talking. So you can see that this chamber here is now sitting with its front edge on the lip of curb. The center of the node here is 600 mm behind the lip, which puts it 150 mm behind the invert. The grate and lintel, they're still placed at the insertion point, which is just behind the lip of curb. Beautiful. Okay, so that's just a quick overview of the idea of identifying these road strings in the road design file in order to tell 12D which road strings are important, and then how to use the Adjust Pit Locations tool to adjust the position of the stormwater drainage nodes. Thank you and good night. If you'd like to find more about how 12D Model can improve your productivity, then contact 12D Solutions by email on sales@12d.com.